Supernatural Season 10, Episode 7, Girls, Girls, Girls. Now, I was watching the episode, I was ready to talk about it during the review, and then, of course, they hit you with that crazy surprise ending. So that's, of course, like the first thing in my mind. It always kind of throws me off when I do reviews when they, you know, excellently write a great ending to an episode. But I'm definitely going to get to that towards the end, and all the craziness that may or may not come out of that, I don't really know, especially with some stuff that happened in last season. But I thought this was a good episode. I was really, really excited to finally meet our main villain who, I think it was one of the things I thought of, like, what if she ends up working with Crowley and stuff like that. So, now it's a big possibility. Crowley, I highly doubt, will end up killing his own mother, which is just nuts. But we got to see her, and we get introduced to her, and she's a witch, and so that was just another great thing. Like, she is not just another demon or anything. She's a witch, a very, very powerful witch, apparently, who's been alive for who knows how many centuries, because she was the only one who knew the big spell with how she typically kills people, and she was the one who made it. So she's been alive for centuries, and it just made it very interesting. And once again, it kind of ties into her being Crowley's mother and how that might change some things. But we got to see her talk about her history and how she's basically been banned from creating a coven. She was kicked out of her own, and she's a natural, and she was born with this ability. So it was just really cool. We got to meet our main villain, I guess. Now it's just all up in the air, but we finally got to meet her. It was really cool. Like, I actually enjoyed the fact that she was Scottish, and that was like the first thing I noticed when she started talking. I was like, oh, it's a Scottish. She has a Scottish accent, because in TV, typically speaking, it's either someone American or someone British as the villain, honestly. So it was like, oh, that's really cool. She really stands out as like a person who's like the Scottish villain. Like, how many people in the show have that accent? And really, it's only been people related to Crowley. So there you go. But I liked her in this episode. She seemed like she was actually an okay person at first. It was like, maybe she won't be the villain. She's helping out these hookers, and she like killed the demons off. So it was like, okay, she saved the girls, and then once they get to the restaurant, she actually like kills off like the main waiter guy. And at first it was just like, oh, she basically compelled him, like, hey, just bring us a bunch of food. No big deal there. It's illegal, but it's like, that's nothing for magic. And then the guy ends up dying. And pretty much all of her spells are just like insanely powerful spells, no matter what it is. Like, she, spelled the one girl who she considered weak, and she made her like the attack dog, and she died from that. And, we've seen spells tons of times where it's like, they just, they affect people and then it's done. But she's so powerful that her using these hex bags, and I'm sure whatever she was going to do to the one girl that punched her, it's, well, I mean, that was meant to kill her, of course, but pretty much everything she does, whether it's just like, hey, I kind of mind control you for like 30 minutes and you just bring me and do, bring me food and do whatever I tell you, even something as simple as a mind control spell will completely kill someone off. It'll boil their brains and they will drop dead. So it's really cool that she's so powerful that even the smallest spells from her can have such a drastic effect on the human body. But I liked her character. I think, we waited, I think this is 3 episodes since she was officially introduced, and I'm really glad. I like her character. I really love her story now. I think, I was initially just excited because of her character, and also we haven't had a witch as the main villain like ever. I don't think we've had, of course, all the little episodes, but really we've never had a villain that was just a witch or even a warlock. It was just been demons, and that's pretty much it. Like, demons, and then the angels when they came in, but that's it. It's either a demon or an angel, and it's either a very powerful demon or a very powerful angel, and that's been it. There have been no real exceptions. So it was really cool that they even introduced that. And I never, I guess I hadn't thought about it until she mentioned that she was a witch, and it's like, well, they've never really done that before, where it wasn't just another powerful demon or another powerful angel. It's always just been angels and demons. So it was a really cool concept. She's like the third element to like the magical trifecta, I guess, and she's gonna be our main villain. And then, of course, the ending when we find out that she's Crowley's mother. I thought maybe he just like, for some reason, the first thing I thought of was that he may have dated her or something. I don't know why, but she's Crowley's mother, and I don't know what that's gonna do for the series. It's definitely gonna be amazing. I mean, Crowley's purpose in this episode was kind of just, it seemed normal. It was just like, oh, he's just kind of going about doing his job, and he still kind of hating it right now. It's not exactly as fun as he wants it to be. And then they show like these little moments that we had with Crowley weren't just to show like Crowley's still kind of just hanging out trying to have more fun than he really is having. It was there because his connection to this random thing that he didn't even know about led him to finding his mother, who I'm assuming he thought was dead, especially with the crazy zoom and stuff they did. He had to have thought she was dead, and it brings up like a billion questions. Did he know she was dead? Did he think she was just gone and you just eventually died over time? Did he know she was a witch? I feel like he would have to have known that, considering how powerful she is. But at the same time, it's like she could have been cast off when he was a little kid and all this crazy stuff. And of course, he's in a completely different body, so she doesn't know. But it just brings up a million questions. And oddly enough, one of the big things I thought of was the fact that he let his son go in the last season, and so his son is still out there and stuff. And when he was looking at her, it was like, just all these little things like, oh, she's Scottish. And that's such a weird connection to make, I guess, that she was Scottish and, she's from the same place. And she knew where he was from. And it was like, oh, she might know little things and she could possibly find his son if she somehow escapes from this. And that was just another thing in the episode. I didn't expect her to be caught. I was like, oh, that really surprised me that she was actually captured. And then, of course, it's because she's not going to get killed off when she's the King of Hell's mother. So a million questions come up, but it's unbelievably exciting. I can't wait to see what they do with this. Unfortunately, I had to watch it online, so I have no idea what the next episode is going to be. But I think this is going to be very interesting, and I don't know how things are, like I said, going to play out between Crowley and his mother, and then, of course, that kind of leading to Crowley going up against Sam and Dean again, which is another thing I mentioned. Like, he would somehow end up working with this demon, or I thought she was a demon at the time, but he would end up working with this villain, and then he would be a lot like he was when he was first introduced, when he was like the main villain of that season, or at least another big component where all he was trying to do was kill off Sam and Dean. So they might get back to that, and I think it would be really great. I think it was just a really cool reveal at the end. I'm very excited for what they do, and that was just like the biggest thing in this episode. But there are a lot of great points in this, and I really love this episode. I think it's honestly, I think it might be my favorite so far. I think I like this one more than the one where Sam actually cured Dean, and that was a really good episode. I really loved it, and them, sort of cat and mouse game. But this one had a lot of unexpected moments, so I think that's why I like it more. And we had the stuff with Cole when he came in, and they went right over it, but this is of course going to be a huge plot point in this season, if not next season or something. But Dean coming across Cole's father and never having come across a creature like him before that or since then is going to be a big deal. I don't know if it's genetic, so Cole is going to become a monster or something like that, but they're not just going to be like, yeah, I ran into this monster that was like eating livers, never seen it before, never seen it after. They're not going to say something like that and not, pick it up later in the series. So that was a really cool thing. And Cole actually realizing like this guy, he's not crazy. He wouldn't give me his gun and say like, you can shoot me if you don't like what I tell you, unless he was telling the truth. And I enjoyed that. It was good. I didn't expect that to happen so soon. And we got to see him like torture a demon, and it was, the guy was like, I'm your first demon and stuff, you're just a rookie. So it was actually really cool. It made me like his character a lot more, because it wasn't him just being mad at Dean, and it's like, we know he's not going to kill Dean. It's like in this one, he learned the truth, and it was so much faster. And also we got to see another great fight. And I really enjoyed this fight because it was sort of even, and Dean wasn't Demon Dean, so he wasn't insanely powerful against Cole. So it was them going back and forth. He did have an awesome toss when he like threw Cole into the car. That was probably my favorite part. But it was a really good fight. Excuse me. It was a really good fight, and then we got the story element of it, and we got Dean saying that he knew he was lost, and he told Sam, like, I just was telling him what he needed to hear. But we've heard Dean say that like dozens of times in this series. So like, it was nothing special to me. It was like he said it again, and he always ends up saying it at some point around Sam. And I would love it if at some point, this season Sam's like, I've heard you say that in front of me several times, or you've told me yourself, because he has, like, this is where I am. Like, I'm going to be a hunter until I die. I want you to have a different life because you want one. And, Dean says that in a lot of different ways, but it's always the same thing. Like, I'm just going to die doing this, and that's all there is to it. So, I would love it if Sam, really confronts him, and he doesn't let him just slide and say like, I was just telling him that because I knew he wanted to hear it. So I would love to see that, but it was a great, great episode. We also got the stuff with Cass, which once again highly unexpected to see Hannah decide to give up, and it was crazy because the whole thing is like, and this just shows that Supernatural has good writing. But the whole thing was like, okay, Hannah is falling for Cass, and that just happens. And they had the moment when she took her clothes off and stuff, and then she runs into, I believe the vessel is Caroline. Her husband finds them, and that was the one thing that drove her crazy. Like it was funny. Like the thing that it seemed like she wanted the most, which was kissing Cass and being with him, is the action that kind of turned everything around for her. And I actually thought that was really well done too. And she was like, I'm done. Like, as much as I love these human things, like just wanting to take a shower because it feels good, seeing that pain on his face and causing him, more pain, just destroyed everything. Like all the feelings I had of wanting and this and that were nothing compared to, hurting myself because I hurt him. And I just love that. Like, it was just one of the many great points in this episode. So I really love this one. A lot of great stuff happening. Cass is kind of off on his own again. He even talked about his vessel and he looked him up at the end. That was really good. But a great episode. Introduced some plot points. The liver thing, the creature being like once in a lifetime. I feel like we aren't going to get that until much later in the season, if we get it this season at all. But I feel like since Cole has kind of started the Hunter path, even though it was just to kill Dean, I feel like they're going to bring him in at some point. I feel like they're going to keep him in this season because they just introduced him. He's only been in like 3 episodes. So I feel like they're going to use him much more, and he'll come back into it somehow. But great episode. Of course, comment below. Let me know what you guys thought about it. Your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And of course, what do you guys think is going to happen with Crowley having found his mother, who is like the powerful witch right now? How is that going to, change things for really the world now? Because, we got the King of Hell and this ultimate witch. How is that going to affect things for the show? Comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.